University. MusicHeads. Classes in session. Turn me up. Enroll on YouTube now. Link is in the description.
Who else could it be but me, your man, Louie T. Welcome to Monday Night Football Overtime. We had a dandy doubleheader tonight as the Green Bay Packers took on the New York Giants simultaneously, and this is different because normally they stagger the games. One's usually on an hour before the other. They had them both on at 8:15. I enjoyed it. I had split screen, so I just watched both of the games, went back and forth between the audio on them. And down in South Beach, the Dolphins, or down in Miami, the Dolphins were hosting the Tennessee Titans. And it's not often I'm excited to see the Tennessee Titans play football, but I like what I've seen from Will Levis. And I've been telling you guys as much. I think they found their quarterback. And I was really excited to see what he would do on this big stage. And it wasn't great early on, but he showed exactly why Titans fans are excited potentially about what the future could bring for them with Will Levis as their quarterback. It's not always pretty with him, but boy, is he toolsy. And when you've got the tools that he has, you always got a shot. And he showed it late. We'll talk about that game here in a second, but we're going to start with the game that ended first. The Green Bay Packers, winners of 3 in a row after starting 3-6, had scratched and clawed their way back to 500 at 3-3, had a big win, controversial no call on a pass interference play that obviously got the Chiefs riled up. And a lot of people watching the game just felt like that's a blatant, obvious miss, but it doesn't matter. The Packers aren't apologizing, nor are they giving back the dub. And that gave them their 3rd in a row, got them back to 500, and they were in the playoffs. If the playoffs had started, before last week, or rather before tonight's game, they were in. They just needed to win. And they're playing a 4-8 Giants team. And I told you guys, right? I've been telling you, I said, I bitched up. It's not often that I have conviction. I've told you what I think the Bills are going to do. I'm confident about that. They already took care of step 1 going to Kansas City. A lot of people didn't think they were going to do that. I also told you on Friday, I said, I'm telling you right now, the Giants are going to win this game. You don't believe me? Take a look. Green Bay at the Giants. This is another one. This is the one I really bitched up on. The Giants are going to win this game. People are really drinking that Packers coffee right now. And this is where you get the letdown. And listen to me. The Giants are good defensively. They're better than people think. And this Packers team, they're riding high right now. And the Giants are coming off this bye week. They're playing with confidence. They've won 2 in a row. And they're just the kind of team that could knock the Packers down a notch. And I don't have the balls to pick it because I picked Buffalo. And I can't do it again here. I want to pick the Giants so bad. They're going to win this game. But I don't have a pair. And I can't grow one. Give me the Packers. Shame. I told you guys if I had a pair, if I had a set, if I had some cojones, I would have made the pick. Because I strongly felt like the Giants were going to win this game. And the Packers are who they are, right? They're an inconsistent young football team. And I told you, as a fan of young teams, I've watched them grow, but these are a part of the growing pains that come with a young team. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to lose games you have no business losing. You're going to make foolish mistakes and turnovers at the most inopportune times, but you're also going to have that roller coaster ride. Like all the poor plays that they made, all the mistakes that they made to allow the Giants to have the opportunities that they had. Even with all that said, they got the football late after a Saquon Barkley fumble, and they got down there. They scored the touchdown. They took the lead, and all they needed was a stop. And they couldn't get it. Why? Because of Tommy DeVito. Hey, Tommy! Just get over here. Hey! DeVito getting it done with his legs, with his arm. I'm not gonna say anything crazy tonight. You know, there are gonna be some people that are like, they might have their quarterback. Hey, let's not get carried away. Okay. What I can say, because after the first 2 or 3 games of Tommy DeVito, the first 2 times I think I saw him, I was like, this kid can't play in the NFL. This is too much for him. What's apparent is he can play in the NFL. Now, I thought that Brian Daboll did a fantastic job, him and Mike Kafka, of putting together a game plan that utilized his skill set, mainly his legs. You know, they really had the Packers off balance with some of those read options where he kept it and took off. Obviously, the big one that he got down inside the 1-yard line that he almost scored on was a beautiful keep. And he made some moves, man. He looked like an athlete on that. That wasn't just a stiff, straight line run. That was, oops, put my foot in the ground. Oops, put my foot in the ground again. And if not for Wan'Dale Robinson being in the damn way, he'd have walked in the end zone. Wan'Dale Robinson made the damn tackle. Speaking of Wan'Dale Robinson, he had a fantastic night. He had the big run to set up the first touchdown. And then he also had the big catch late in the game to set up the field goal. He was outstanding tonight. They didn't really have any answer for him. Had the nice catch on the sidelines. I've always liked Wan'Dale Robinson. You know, I thought he was going to be really good for them last year until he tore his ACL. He strikes me as what Sterling Shepard was for the Giants prior to all the injuries. That's what he reminds me of, a faster version of Sterling Shepard, right? And so he's been phenomenal. And he's still working his way back from the injury from last year, but his contribution tonight cannot be understated. Saquon had a rough go of it tonight. Then he started to bust out on that final drive or the second to last drive where it looked like the Giants, who were up 6 at that time, looked like they were going to be able to put it away. And, that big run was pretty much going to salt the game away. At that point, you run it 3 times. The Packers, they only had 2 timeouts left. I think you would have probably gotten it under 3 minutes at that point. You kick the field goal, you go up 9, and now they got to score twice in under 3 minutes. It's just not going to happen for a Packers offense that had struggled to score all night. But Saquon, I've always said this about Saquon. He has terrible balance because he runs on his tippy toes. And when you run on your tippy toes the way that he does, he's got such big thighs. It's almost like it's an imbalance, so to speak, because he's so big, but he's disproportionately big. His lower half is ridiculously big. And so if he doesn't have perfect center of gravity, it's almost like he's toppling over because he's a meathead. And anytime you just touch his ankles, he's doing this shit here. You know, remember when he scored a touchdown, he used to do this because his ass is always tripping and shit. And so the guy got a piece of his ankle. He starts to trip. That knocks off his center of, gravity and his balance. He regains his balance, but because Saquon has terrible balance, he loses it again and he fumbles, right? So it sets off a chain of events. First of all, great presence of mind by the Packer defender to pick up the ball and then get that great return because, again, the Packers were struggling all night offensively, just like the Giants were, right? The Giants, outside of the last drive that Tommy DeVito had in the first drive, the 75-yard drive, everything else was set up by Packer mistakes, right? So this was huge. Setting it up in the manner that he set it up. The same thing can be said for the Packers. Without the aid of Giants turnovers and mistakes, they weren't scoring points themselves, right? And I always tell you, if you want to know why a team loses a game, you can usually go to 2 stats. Go to turnovers. If that doesn't tell you what you need to know, go to red zone efficiency, and that'll tell you everything you need to know. The Packers were 2 of 5 in this game in the red zone. That is why they lost this football game. And they missed the field goal. And I told my wife, she was watching the game with me, and I told her because Carlson, the rookie kicker,
Anders Carlson, who has been really shaky this season, and I wouldn't give up on a young kicker. I'd probably more so than most fans, NFL fans, I am very, very particular about field goal kickers and giving them leniency early in their careers. I've seen too many kickers who have come into this league, struggle early on, figure it out, and become excellent field goal kickers for a very long time. And you have to have patience with them. And so at some point, your patience runs thin, right? I get it. This is the NFL. You can't afford to be losing games because you're waiting on a kicker to get his shit together. But you also got to understand, and you drafted him. So you spent draft capital on him. You moved on from Mason Crosby. You've got to give him time because he struggled this season. But his first two makes in the game, one was from 36 and the other was from 32. Both of those bitches barely squeezed inside of the upright. The first one, I remember telling my wife after he made the first two, I said, he barely made the first two kicks. I said after he made both kicks to myself, because she wasn't watching when he made the first two field goals. She was watching at the end. I said to myself when he made the first two, if those kicks were 5 yards back further, like there was a false start or something, and he would have missed both of those kicks. So those were 32 and 36. So I said, this one, and remember, Jordan Love took that terrible sack prior to the field goal, right? And I said, let me see where this is at, because my wife was watching with me this time. And I said, let me see where this is at, because I didn't know where they were on the field. Like if he got sacked around the 21, he still was going to make the kick. But he got sacked all the way back by the 29, like by the 30, like at the 29. I said, oh, he going to miss this shit. Because his ass, anything past about 40 yards, he's going to miss. I knew it. And sure enough, he missed. And that was when I thought the Giants were really going to win. I wasn't sure. Like most of the night, I felt like I'm right about this. And when the Giants took the 8-point lead, and then Anders Carlson missed the field goal, I was like, nah, they're going to win this game for real. And then once they cut it to 5, I was like, I don't know. They needed a touchdown right there, though. And I told my wife, I said, if they ever score a touchdown on that drive, they're going to win the game, because either they're going to get the 2-point conversion, get a stop, get the ball back, kick the game-winning field goal, or they're going to go for 2, not get it. They're going to be down because they needed 2 at that time. It was 8-point ball game. I said they're going to be down 2, and they're going to get the stop, get the ball back, kick a walk-off field goal. Well, they kicked the field goal instead of scoring a touchdown, which I thought was really detrimental to their chances of winning the game. And then Saquon fumbles, and that opened the door back up, right? And I think I said 9. That would have made it 8, not 9, because they were up 5, not 6. So the Giants would have been in the driver's seat up 5. Packers already have used the timeout, only had 2 remaining. But it's amazing them scoring the way that they did, because I thought that they were going to – no, I'm thinking of the other game. I'm about to say, because they scored so quick. They didn't score super quick, but they scored quick enough. But the Giants still had 2 timeouts, so that wouldn't have mattered. There were some crazy plays in this game. The touchdown, no touchdown. I didn't think it was a touchdown. Great play by Jason Pinnock to knock the ball free from the receiver, Heath. But he comes back and makes an excellent play, beautiful catch on the touchdown. Love was off in this game, right? This was not one of his better performances. But these are the growing pains. Like everybody was on Jordan Love's jock last week after the game. You should have heard all the praise that he was getting. I still am just as confident in Jordan Love's ability as I was last week. Nothing has changed. This is what you go through with young quarterbacks, the inconsistency. You saw it in the Tennessee Titans game with Will Levis. You know, Levis would make some eye-popping throws and, you know, show off his athleticism, and then he'd do something foolish like the pick 6. And you go, what the hell was that? Or the pitch to Derrick Henry where he damn near throws it over his head. Like, bro, what are we doing? Right? So it's the inconsistency that you get with these young quarterbacks. You take the good with the bad, but you also, what you really are looking for are those splash plays, because consistency comes over time. Not everybody's going to hit the ground with consistency and run and never look back. Generally, with quarterbacks in the NFL, you go through that little period early on where you're kind of feeling things out, and that's Jordan Love. He's going to have some really good games. He's going to have some really bad. I will tell you this, his mechanics stink. But he learned from Aaron Rodgers. He, to me, has a skill set that allows him to get away with bad mechanics. But he's going to have to tighten shit up. Because Aaron Rodgers has this way of affecting quarterbacks. You see Zach Wilson, right? You see the shit Zach Wilson does. He's out here throwing no-look passes like he's Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers really affects young quarterbacks. And why wouldn't he? He's Aaron freaking Rodgers. Jordan Love throws like Aaron Rodgers. His mannerisms are like Aaron Rodgers. You know, when he throws the football, he kind of like flicks it like Aaron Rodgers. His footwork is all out of whack. You know, he's falling off balance. That touchdown pass, he's fading backwards, off platform, flings it, and, you know, right out there where it needed to be for the catch and the touchdown. It's a hell of a throw, especially for where he was. But, you know, he struggled tonight. Struggled with decision-making, struggled with accuracy. His accuracy was terrible. And, you know, they said it was a windy night. I don't know if that had anything to do with his lack of accuracy for most of the night. It just wasn't a good game for him. But they talked about the Packers special teams and how it's been abysmal this season and it's let them down. They lead the NFL in special teams penalties. They had another one tonight, or two tonight. Then they had the special teams gaff with the muffed punt. But then the Giants said, hey, all's well that ends well. You did it. We'll return the favor. They gave it back to him. And the difference was the Giants were able to turn theirs into a touchdown. The Packers had to settle for a field goal, and they missed. So, again, you want to go to you want to know why the Packers lost this game, just go straight to the red zone efficiency, or lack thereof, 2 of 5 in this game. But when it's all said and done, credit the Giants offense. I loved how they used DeVito's legs tonight. And when he needed to make throws, DeVito made throws. Hey, Tommy! Pazzo! Get over here! Come here! Did you see his agent? Like, he looked like he came straight out of the Mafia Italian game plan, right? Like, straight out of the playbook. Like, if we were drawing him up, created player, right? Like, Mafia dude, fedora hat, all black, little chain. Like, come on, man. Seriously. He had to have done that on purpose. Like, he doesn't dress like that every day, man. Who we kidding? Stop it. No way. He did that. He knew he was going to be on camera. He knew they were going to find his parents. He was sitting right next to him. I just love Italians, though. You know, after he has the first touchdown drive, everybody's kissing everybody. You know, I love it, man. My wife was like, oh, they doing it too much. I'm like, hey, let Tommy have his moment. You know what I'm saying? Let him have his 15 minutes of fame, not seconds, because he's going to milk this the rest of the season. Let him have his 15 minutes of fame, man. Shit. Tommy Cutlass. Hey. I love it. It's amazing. The Giants are at 5-8. And I take credit for this. I said Washington had to just give them a little push. They were trending towards the number 1 overall pick, and we had to give them a little nudge. Boop, and look what they've done. 3 in a row. That's what we do, right? We sent them on there. We made Tommy DeVito Tommy Cutlass. We made Tommy DeVito. Hey, Tommy! Pazzo! We made him. That's what we do. Hell of a game by Tommy DeVito, man. It's a great story. They'll milk it the rest of the season. And I just want to say this. For as bad as the Giants have been this season, along with the Jets, in terms of scoring the football, they're 5-8. And they're literally 3 or 4 plays away from being 8-5 this season, if you can believe that. Should have ran it on a 4th down against the Jets instead of kicking a field goal, missing, and letting the Jets go down and get a game-time field goal and then ultimately win it in overtime. If they'd have just ran it with Saquon Barkley for 1 yard, Saquon had 90 carries that day, and they couldn't stop him, and instead they elected to kick the field goal, and they ended up losing the game. They got to the 1 yard line against the Bills. If they just give it to Saquon, the Bills are not great against the run. They probably scored a touchdown and win that game. They are literally 2 or 3 plays away from being 8-5 right now. Are the Giants. I know that sounds crazy. But as bad as they've been offensively, as bad as they've been this season, you look at the playoff standings, all those 6 and 7 teams, and the Giants would have been right in that mix for as bad as they've been this season. And to me, that's a testament to their defense. Their defense has not been the issue this season. Their defense has not been the issue this season. And they've had games where they've gotten their asses scorched, like against Dallas both times, against Arizona in the first half. I am well aware that their defense has not been great, but they've been dealt a really bad hand this season defensively with how bad their offense has been. That's a quality unit over there. And again, I've said this a million times. I don't love the Giants coaching staff, but they're a quality NFL staff, are the Giants. You can win with their staff. We saw what they did last year with Daniel Jones. To me, Brian Daboll can coach offense. You give him an athlete at quarterback that can make timely throws and watch Brian Daboll work. So we'll see. It's really interesting about the Giants. It's really interesting because a month ago, they're definitely going quarterback. But as they continue to win, they're going to be out of the top 10 here shortly, right? Because I wasn't accounting for a Giants win this soon. Maybe a Giants win in week 17 or 18. Eagles don't need it in week 18. Maybe they get a win there, right? Wasn't accounting for a Giants win now, even though I predicted this. But when I was doing the Tankathon, I wasn't thinking about a Giants win, at this particular moment. But they're now 5-8. They're trending towards the 12th, 13th pick. That's where they're headed. Tennessee. I told everybody, I said, Tennessee's going to win more games. Well, they won tonight. We weren't predicting or expecting a Titans win against the Dolphins on the road. But I told you, I said, the Titans are going to win. The Giants are going to win. And I keep telling anybody that, well, listen, Washington's going to win another game. And I know it seems far-fetched now. If it's not the Jets, they won't win another game. It's got to be the Jets. And I know them coming off of a 30-point performance, you're like, they're not beating them either. That's the only team we can beat is the Jets. And with the way they play defense, oy vey. Shout out to the Giants for getting it done. What a win as they take care of the Green Bay Packers. Snap the Packers' 3-game win streak, 24-22. I'll just say this about the Packers. I still think that they have a shot to make the playoffs. I won't rule them out. I don't like the Saints. I don't think the Falcons are any good. Really, anybody from that division, Tampa, all of those teams stink, but somebody's got to win that division. I don't think the teams that don't win the division are going to make the playoffs. So really, I'm looking at the Rams. I'm looking at this Packers team. The Vikings somehow, some way are in the mix. I'm looking at those 3 teams and Seattle. I won't quit on the Seahawks, but their schedule is brutal. They got the Eagles coming up here. I don't see them beating the Eagles. I just don't think they're going to be able to win enough games with the Seahawks, but I wouldn't rule them out either. This isn't a death sentence if you're the Packers. It is a blip on the radar, though. It is a step back, right? After the momentous win at home Sunday night, big stage against the Chiefs, to come back and lose big stage, on the road against the Giants, a lesser opponent, that one stings a bit. However, I still think this is a team that can make a run at the postseason. I wouldn't be shocked if they make it. I'll say this too. A lot of mistakes, poor execution in the red zone. I hated the 2-point conversion call. All right. And my wife was sitting here watching it with me, and she's like, how many times are they going to do that? Like, why did they run the ball right there? I would have kept it in Jordan Love's hands, honestly, in that particular instance. They had already given it to Jaden Reed on some sort of run play like 4 or 5 times that night already. He had success. Don't get me wrong. Like, he had success. He had the opening touchdown of the game. And so, and he had some good hits in the run game. So they probably felt like they could get it to him again and he could make something happen. But I didn't like that play call. You know, to me, you needed your best 2-point call because you knew that you didn't want to have the Giants be able to beat you with a field goal. I just think you should have kept the ball in the hands of your quarterback there. But I even think spreading them out and going quarterback draw with Jordan Love would have been a better option than what they ultimately did. But it's only so many times you can get the Giants with some form of Jaden Reed coming across the formation and getting the rock before they finally sniff it out. And they did it at the most important time in the game. And it proved to be the difference, honestly, after Tommy DeVito goes down and makes it happen. So, and I can't stand Randy Bullock. He stinks, but got it done when it mattered. He had already missed. I had zero confidence in him, but he got it done when it mattered most, and the Giants prevail 24-22. Packers dropped to 6-7. Giants improved to 5-8. And honestly, if you're a Commanders fan, the weekend couldn't have gone any better from a tankathon standpoint. Like, everything that you needed to happen essentially happened. New England won. The Panthers, they're gone. They're too far gone. You don't have to worry about them. But New England won. Arizona was on a bye, but they won before their bye week. Every team around Washington won. The Jets won. The Giants won. The Titans won. Every 4-win team went and got their 5th win. It's essentially Washington sitting there by themselves, I think, with 4 wins. And then it's the 2 3-win teams in front of them. Chicago won. They've got 5 wins now. Like, it's just Washington there. Like, it couldn't have gone any better. I expected all of these 4-win teams to win. I expected some of the 5-win teams to win. So I'm not shocked by New Orleans winning. They were supposed to beat Carolina. I'm not shocked that Tampa Bay beat Atlanta. That's family business, right? I told you guys all of these teams were going to win more games. I just didn't expect them to win as soon as they did. I didn't expect Chicago to beat Detroit. I didn't expect Tennessee to beat Miami. But here we are. Like, this shit is kind of like, it's almost opening up like, it's almost like, what are we doing here? Scary even. But anyway, I digress. Let's get to the other game, man. What a finish in Miami as the Tennessee Titans upset the Miami Dolphins 28-27 in comeback fashion. The Titans were down 14 points. The Titans were down 14 points. I said that right. Titans were down 14 points with under 4 minutes to go in the game. And Will Levis went slam off, essentially throwing dimes, dots. It was crazy because he took them down the field so quickly. It got in the end zone. He throws the touchdown to Wk14, and I'm like, they go for 2. Or rather, they scored a touchdown. I don't remember who he threw the touchdown pass to. I think it was DeAndre Hopkins. He threw the touchdown pass to DeAndre Hopkins. He scrambled to his right, threw back across his body, and then he threw the 2-point conversion to Wk14, who was wide open. And I'm like, Vrabel going for 2 like that shit gonna matter. And I looked down, and they had all 3 of their timeouts, but it was still like 2:38 or whatever left. But I looked down, I saw they had all 3 timeouts, and I'm like, interesting. But I didn't expect Mike McDaniel to go all bitch on me, run, and then try to throw it on 3rd down, and Tua doesn't, he gets, I don't think he got sacked. I think he tried to run and got tackled short of the 1st down, and they had to punt. And, the whole thing with Tyreek Hill at the end of the game was funky. Like, if he's hurt, he's hurt. But if he can play, he should be in on every single play. The first snap of the possession when they were down 28-27, he's not even in the game. Like, what are we doing? Like, if he can go, then put him in the game. Right? Like, it was weird, the shit that they were doing. But let's just talk about this game as a whole. Let's start from the beginning. And it was a disastrous start for Will Levis, which was really the only reason I was even interested in this game. The Dolphins, what's funny, and we might have a few Dolphins fans in here tonight. I don't know if they'll be here after this was a soul-crushing loss. But earlier in the season, I don't know if you guys remember, But there was a Dolphins fan in here. I don't remember who it was. Might have been SoFlo Sports. I can't remember. I don't want to guess. But he was like, typical Dolphins. We soft. They had lost to somebody. Lost to the Eagles. That's what it was. It was after the Sunday night loss to the Eagles. We soft. We can't beat anybody with a winning record. We always fold in December. And he was just reeling off all this shit about his Dolphins. And I was like, bro, chill. It might be different this year. And he's like, nah, it's the same old Dolphins. I'm telling you, watch. And when they won last week, I was like, see, it might be different this year, right? And then they do this shit. Now, Tyreek Hill being injured, that definitely impacted them, but there's no excuse. The Titans literally did some 4-8 shit at the end of this game. They literally imploded and tried to give you the game, and you still pissed it away. Like, that's some special. It took some special shit on the part of the Dolphins to lose this game in the manner that they did. So you get the pick six from Will Levis, throwing it to the defensive tackle on a failed screen attempt, 6 yards away from your own end zone. You can't do that. You know, and again, growing pains of a young fella. I watched Jordan Love do something similar. It wasn't a pick, obviously, but he is trying to let a screen develop. His running back falls down. He waits for the running back to get up and then throws in the screen. Bro, throw that shit in the ground. You're 10 yards away from the line of scrimmage at this point. That screen is dead, bro. Dead, I tell you. And he throws it to him anyway. And Dillon catches it and loses 11 yards. Same thing with this screen to Will Levis. And I saw the same thing in the Patriots game with, and I see, that's why I said leave that shit for the young boys. It's okay to see Jordan Love do that. It's okay to see Will Levis. Mitchell Trubisky is too damn old to be doing that shit. He threw a screen 6 yards down the field, almost got picked up. Save that for the young boys, okay? And Levis, I don't know if he didn't see the defensive tackle. I don't know what the hell happened. You can't do that. Zach Sealer, Johnny on the spot, picks the bitch off, rumbles into the end zone, and you can't get much worse of a start than that. But the defense for the Titans hung tough. And Tyreek Hill's injury definitely made it a lot easier on them. I did think, though, that the Titans were being stretched out on the perimeters. They were getting to those edges, and they were hitting them. And between Mostert and Achane, they were killing them early on the ground, but they didn't have anything to show for it. I talk about the red zone, right? And efficiency, we can go straight to the red zone. I bet you Miami's red zone efficiency is the reason they lost this game. And I talk about it all the time. Like, when we talk about the difference in ball games, you can go to two stats: turnovers, and it was 3 turnovers for Tennessee. They're not supposed to win this game. Only 1 for the Dolphins. It was a costly one, but only 1 for the Dolphins. Dolphins were 2 of 5 in the red zone. The Titans were 3 of 5 in the red zone. That's the difference in the game. Right there. Right? They got down there so many times, and I just thought it was weird watching Mike McDaniel be so cautious. Some you know, a part of me was like, know thy opponent. Titans aren't going to score a bunch of points. Titans haven't won a road game since 1996. I want to take this time, though, to say rest in paradise to Frank Wycheck, one of my favorite tight ends to watch back in the day. Also, he had a cup of tea with the Commanders, came into the league with the Redskins, and part of the Music City Miracle. We'll never forget that. You know, tragic circumstances surrounding his death. Still kind of hazy in terms of how it transpired, but apparently he fell while at home, hit his head. Just a shame. You know, Frank Wycheck gone way too soon. I think he was only 50-something years old. Like, that's crazy. But in any event, I think McDaniel wasn't as aggressive because I think they kicked a field goal, like 4th and goal from like the 2. And they kicked a field goal. But in his mind, he was saying, the Titans stink on the road. They haven't won a road game in like a year and a half. We just score points. Like they're not, and I always say this, when you're playing bad teams, just score points. Usually bad teams can't keep pace. So just get something on the board, right? I thought he would have been a little bit more aggressive. And I thought it was his lack of aggressiveness in tonight's ball game that's what ultimately cost them. Coincidentally enough, because the Dolphins have been one of the more aggressive teams in the league this season, but we'll come back to that. Anyway, how about the resiliency shown by the Titans? The ability to get the stops in the red zone, the ability to make plays in this game, to keep it close for as long as they did. Then you tab the gut-punching, soul-crushing mistakes, the Garber, muff punt, leads to a touchdown. That's felt like the end, right? That felt like, oh man, you had a shot, you're tied at 13, you do that, they scored a touchdown, it's 20-13. Now it feels like this is where Miami separates and creates that distance. And then the very next play, offensively, you go pitch the ball on some speed option shit, and he throws it high and behind Derrick Henry, and the Titans, muff that whole situation, and the Dolphins recover. And 5-6 plays later, they're in the end zone again. And at that point, you're like, man, valiant effort, but damn, they showed why they 4-8, just like that. And I'm thinking the game's over. I'm really locked into the Giants game at this point, but I'm keeping one eye on that game still. And I see him throwing some dimes to DeAndre Hopkins, and I'm seeing him, get him down the field relatively quick. But at the same time, I'm like, it's all for naught. You're not going to win this game. But I always tell y'all this. My wife had asked me as we were watching the game, is he going to get fired? And he was Mike Vrabel. And I'm like, nah. I think they've already come out and said that he'll be back next year. And he should be. And Mike Vrabel is a hell of a coach. And my wife said, I think he's the white Mike Tomlin. I'm like, he was up until last year. He didn't have any losing seasons until last year. And we know what the circumstances were last year. They had to roll out Josh Dobbs after, picking him up like 4 days prior on a Thursday night against Dallas. So, they were in dire straits at the quarterback position because Malik Willis stunk and they couldn't put him on the field. So they had some issues with quarterback, obviously, last year, or else they would have won the division. They were 7-4 before they imploded last year. 7-3, 7-4. After the Eagles game, they got pissed off because A.J. Brown destroyed them. They fired their GM, and they didn't win another game the rest of the season. It was almost like it was a curse or something. But at the end of the day, he's a damn good coach. And that decision to go for 2, when it didn't seem like it was going to matter at the time, huge, right? So you're down 14. You get the touchdown to DeAndre Hopkins. Great play by Will Levis to, buy time, get out of the pocket, extend. And then you go for 2. Westbrook-Ikhine wide open. You hit him. It's a 6-point deficit. But I'm thinking, this shit's not going to matter. Like, it's cute, but you're not winning this game. All of a sudden, your offense is going to just come to life and you're going to score again. I'm like, first of all, you're not even getting the ball back. All they need is 1 first down and the game is over. And the Dolphins went hyper conservative on me. Like, run, pass, and then Tua doesn't get it off. And I'm like, what in the hell did I just watch? And so they called their timeouts, got the ball back. And at this point now, Levis is locked in. And they're giving up chunks. DeAndre Hopkins is doing these boys dirty, and they're just giving up massive chunks of yardage. Chigaquanqua with a Roberts, tight end screen, and like they're just getting chunks of yardage. And next thing you know, they're inside the Dolphins 20-yard line at the 2-minute warning. And I'm like, what am I watching right now? What is going on right now? Right? And now I'm thinking, don't score too quick. But I had this conversation with Washington fans when we played Seattle. Because a lot of people say they should fall at the 1. De'Ami Brown should have fallen at the 1-yard line. And I'm like, nah, that's not how this works. That's That's not how any of this works. When you got an opportunity to score when you're down, you got to score. When you need a touchdown, you can play that falling down and when you can kick a walk-off field goal and win the game. But when you need a touchdown, you can't play that game. You can't fall at the 1 because the next play you can have a false start and be back at the 6-yard line. Then you can fumble the snap and, or you can take a sack from the 6-yard line and all of a sudden you was at the 1 and you had a chance to score and you decide to fall down at the 1. Anything can happen. You don't play those games. So, I'm playing the clock game because the Dolphins only had one timeout and they already had used it at the 1, 48 mark or whatever. So I'm thinking, man, another run right here and getting stopped at like the 1-yard line would be righteous. But Derrick Henry cut it back and got in, and I don't blame him. Like, you got to score. You can't try to play that, get down at the 1 nonsense because there's no guarantees in this thing. Anything, you can fumble the snap on the next play, and it could be recovered by the Dolphins if you lose the game. Like, you got to score when you can score. So they scored, but it was a lot of time left. Even though the Dolphins didn't have any time, I was like $1:30 left. And I'm still in awe of what Will Levis has just done because they were down 14 points, 27-13, with like literally 5 minutes to go in the game. And he just starts throwing BBs all over the place. Bam, 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 end zone. The defense gets to stop. Bam, 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 end zone. They run it, Henry in, and they, kick the extra point. And they take the lead, and I'm like, whoa, what just happened? In my mind, though, I'm still like the Dolphins going to go down and get the game-winning field goal because they can't lose to Tennessee. The Titans don't win on the road. And then the defense showed up when they needed them the most. And that's when I thought to myself, what's going on with Tyreek Hill? Like, I get the ankle is banged up, but he already came back in the game, made some shit happen. If you're going to use him, use him. If you're not, you're not. Okay. If he's too banged up to contribute, but he looked like he was good enough to go. Like, what are we doing with Tyreek? You know what I'm saying? What a win by the Titans, man. Harold Landry came up huge, and they did this without Jeffrey Simmons, their best defensive lineman, one of their best players on their roster, period. Some freaky plays in this game, the Tajay Sharp catch and hit, the fumble, it went out of bounds. The throw by Tua to Tyreek Hill on the sidelines where Sean Murphy Bunting hyperextends his knee. There were some plays, man. But, man, the Titans are so resilient. And it starts with their head coach, Mike Vrabel. It really does. I don't think he gets enough credit because they're not a super talented team. They've never really been super talented in Tennessee. Let's keep it a buck with one another. Again, one of their best receivers is Nick Westbrook-Akine, man. I mean, what are we talking about here? And they find ways to get the shit done. What a ball game and what resilience by the Titans. I mean, Will Levis's numbers aren't cosmetically. They're not gonna, knock your socks off. They don't fit the bill, right? They don't check off boxes. But if you watch the game, you see everything you need to see. He had a stretch there where he turned into a running back and he was getting physical. And I was like, hey, don't do that shit again, Will. Like, he literally took on a dude, lowered the shoulder. I'm like, hey, you ain't in Kentucky no more. Cut that shit out, bro. This is the NFL. They need you, bro. Don't do that anymore. But you saw the physicality, man. You saw him when he turns into a runner. He's a big dude. Don't get it twisted. He's 6'4", 6'5", 230, 235. Like, he's a big dude. He's physical. Let's get physical. He's a big dude, but hey, I'm like, hey, don't do that shit no more, man. But he can fling it. And he's got some poise and he got some moxie. He took a hellacious hit back there. I was like, that was on some Robert Griffin III falling type shit. Hit the back of a lineman and he flopped backwards, hit his head. I'm like, bro, what kind of a fall is that? But he was all right. And DeAndre Hopkins has made a massive difference. What did he have tonight? Felt like he had a lot of big catches, including the one where he got away with a pass interference when he yanked down Xavier Howard.
Let me see what he ended up with tonight. 7 for 124 and a touchdown. He was huge, man. So was Tajay Spears, 6 catches, 89 yards. He was massive as well. Yeah, that's a big win, man. And if you're the Dolphins on the other end of this thing, you dropped to 9-4, had a chance to stay atop the AFC, hanging tough with the Baltimore Ravens instead, just like the Chiefs and the who's the other team in Jacksonville. You don't get it done, and now you fall back a notch in those AFC standings and kind of clear the path for Baltimore to go and run away and hide with this thing. We'll see, because it's a big matchup between Jacksonville and Baltimore on Sunday Night Football this upcoming week. But there's no excuses for this loss. I mean, as sloppy as Tennessee played, is every opportunity, as many opportunities as they gave you to put this game away, there's just no excuse for losing this football game. None. If you're a Dolphins fan, you have every right to be pissed off. And like I said, there's a Dolphins fan that came in here and said, after the Eagles lost, we soft, we're not any good, we're trash, and we're going to collapse in December. And this is what he was talking about. This is exactly what he was referring to. The Tyreek Hill injury obviously altered your offense significantly, but you were up 14 with 5 minutes to go. Like, there's no excuse for blowing this lead. None. A defense that had been pretty much stout all night long, that hadn't given up a lot of chunk play. And I say this all the time. Nothing pisses me off more than going conservative and prevent, essentially, late in ball games, trying to keep everything in front of you, but giving up huge chunks of yardage. Like, if you've been playing lights out defense the entire game, why would you stop doing the thing that got you to the point where you are now? Why would you start being conservative when you've been dominant all night long, being aggressive, playing the way that you've been playing? And a lot of people like to say prevent defense only prevents you from winning. And that's what I felt like the Dolphins did at the end of this game, is they literally kind of went into a shell defensive coverage where they just kept everything in front of them, but they were giving up huge chunks of yardage. And Will Levis wasn't missing. And it came back to haunt them. You can't blow a 14-point lead at home against a team that hasn't won a road game in over a year and a half. You can't do that. And there's no excuses for it. Tua didn't have his best ball game. Tyreek Hill going down doesn't help. But that's inexplicable. And I thought Mike McDaniel was just super conservative throughout the ball game, settling for a couple of field goals inside the 10-yard line, one inside the 5, on some short down and distance situations where, hey, it's 4th and goal from the 2. Go for that bitch. 4th down and 3 from the 7. Go for that bitch. What are we kicking a field goal for? But at the end of the day, the offense just wasn't clicking. And without Tyreek Hill, I get it. I understand the thought process. I just thought maybe you should have been a little bit more aggressive. If you trust your defense against a young quarterback, he had already thrown a pick 6 deep inside his own territory. Why not push the envelope again and say, let's make this young fella make another big-time throw out of the shadow of his own end zone? Because we don't think he can do it. But the run at the end of the game, and run pass, I just don't understand why teams aren't more aggressive in that situation, because the Titans' timeouts aren't the issue. They'll have plenty of time if they use their timeouts. That's not the issue. You forcing them to use their time. A first down is the issue. It's okay to run it on first down, but on second down, all right, we got to start taking to the air. Because whether they got 1 or 2 timeouts left is of no consequence. If you don't get the first down, whether they got no timeouts, or they got 1 timeout, or they got 2 timeouts left, it doesn't matter. They're going to have plenty of time, which they did. They had no timeouts left, had plenty of time, and they went right down the field and scored. Bing, bang, boom. Like, this notion, and like, that's one of those antiquated late game situations that I think needs to be done away with. The thinking and the thought process behind it needs to be kind of shifted, if you will. You see, like, the NFL has shifted away from how teams attack third downs sometimes, or fourth downs. Like, it's 3rd and 8, and in your mind, I'm going for it. So let's just get 4 or 5 of these and get it to 4th and 3, 4th and 4, so we can go for it, right? That
mentality has shifted. Back in the day, you were trying to get the 8 yards because if it was 4th and 1, you're going to punt. You didn't get it. Now it's shifted to where if I get close enough, and I'm at the right part of the field, I'm going to go for this thing. And I think you need to shift away from this mentality of, oh, we got to force them to use their timeouts. There's a time and a place for that. That wasn't it. There was plenty of time left on the clock for the Titans. If you don't get a first down, them not having timeouts, because the 2-minute warning hadn't even happened yet. So them not having any timeouts isn't really going to do you any good. Just get the first down. That's what you should be obsessed with at that point. I thought Devin Achane running to get out of bounds was a mistake. He could have gotten the first down. And that's a rookie mistake. That's what happens when you got young guys. He was so concerned. He literally went out of his way to make a beeline for out of bounds. All you do is run straight. He made the first guy miss, which was the most important thing. Now he just runs straight and get the first down. Instead, he stops, turns, pivots after running straight and getting about 2 yards. He needed 4. He then realized, I need to get out of bounds. And he still didn't get credit for going out of bounds. And that was a killer. Should have just gotten the first down. But, it's easy to say that in hindsight when a young guy is just trying to make a play and trying to do what he thinks is the right thing to do. But just get the first down, we can run up and spike it. But getting the first down, this is what people fail to realize. In those situations, getting the first down is more important than getting out of bounds. Because all you need is a field goal. It's not like you need a touchdown. You need a touchdown, and getting out of bounds is more important because the time is more important than the downs at that point, right? The time, because you might run out of time before the downs even come into play. But when you just need a field goal, the down is more important because we can figure out a way to get in the field goal range. Even if we're attempting a 58-yarder, we can figure out a way to get a field goal off. Just get out of, get the first down. We'll figure out the rest. When you need a touchdown, it's different because now time becomes a factor. You got to get out of bounds, but you need a field goal. So again, situational football it's hard when you're dealing with young guys, but I can't believe the Titans literally tried to implode, and then the Dolphins said, nah, we're going to one-up you. We're going to show you how to do this, son. And they literally gave the game away. How about Bradley Chubb slamming his helmet down when the Titans were going to have to settle for a field goal because he didn't get the sack on Will Levis, got pissed off, slammed his helmet in the field of play, giving them a first down, they go and score a touchdown. How about that bullshit? Like, that's the kind of shit that if I'm a Dolphins fan, I'm going bananas. Like, I'm snapping on Bradley Chubb. You can't do that kind of stupid shit. Where's your brain? You loco in the cabeza. You tripping. Like, that's loser football. That's the difference between being 10-3 right now and 9-4. You lost this game by a point. That's a 4-point swing, my man. Like, I can't deal with that type of incompetence. I don't give a shit how mad you are. You want to slam your helmet? Do that shit once you cross that thick white line, bro. You can't be in the field to play acting stupid like that. You can't cost it. That's selfish. Anyway, I digress. Wow. 2 excellent games on Monday night. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? Really? And the one game that we thought was going to be really good was which was the Sunday night game. And the other 3, which didn't look all that great on paper, I thought the Giants and Packers game was going to be close. But I thought the Titans would get dominated. The Patriots-Steelers game was really good, right? That's an understatement. It was good. It was 21-18. It was close, and it went down to the wire. Meanwhile, the bookends, really, the Thursday night and then the 2 Monday nights were really good. The Sunday was trash. And that's the one that we went into the weekend thinking, oh, man, I can't wait for Birdman hand rub. And then it turned out to be ass. It's crazy how that works, right? Anyway, I digress. Let's get to the comment section. And Swaggy P, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Swaggy P writes, Washington won on the bye week with these upsets. #HTTC. And I said this already. Washington, I named my CNN episode Victory Monday. I mean, it felt like a victory Monday, man. We got a lot of dubs this weekend without even, lifting a finger or scoring a single point. And I couldn't have imagined the weekend going as well as it did. I told you guys when I went through it, and we'll go through it tomorrow on the show, so no worries there. But I told y'all I'm not worried about teams behind us. I told you the Titans are going to win some more games. They're not a bad team. I said the Saints are going to win more games. The Bucks are going to win more games. The Bears are probably going to win another game or two. The Jets are, I said the Jets are probably, I thought the Jets, it was going to come between us and the Jets. The Jets won. I didn't see the Bears winning. I didn't see the Jets winning. I didn't see the Patriots winning. I didn't see the Titans winning. I thought all of those teams may win another game or two somewhere along the way, minus the Jets and the Patriots. I didn't think it was any chance in hell the Patriots were winning another game this season. Now, the Jets, they play us. If they're going to win another one, I thought it would be against us. Everybody around us won. Everybody. The only team that didn't win was Arizona, and that's because they were on a bye week. Everybody won. It's crazy. Mike Jink, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, missed 8 games, Lou. Just crown me now. Shaking my head. Bro, I lost 9. I think I got the piss cup. I ain't even going to hold you. I think I went 7-9 this week. I don't remember all of my picks, but I think I went 6-9. And I didn't have the balls to pick the Giants. I should have. That might have saved me from the piss cup. I think I got the piss cup this week. In trying to avoid the piss cup by not picking the Giants, I think I might have actually gotten it. But I'm not mad. If I got the piss cup, it was worth it. Because it'll be a $400 glass of piss. I'm willing to drink a $400 glass of piss if I have to. Hopefully, there's somebody out there that likes the kid and blesses me with a 10th loss and takes me off the hook. But I'm asking a lot for somebody to go piss cup ultra and lose 10. This was the week to do it, though. A lot of upsets. I wouldn't be shocked if somebody has a dime, right? I pride myself on not being pissy. I feel like somebody's going to make sure that I stay clean. It's the holiday season. Somebody will be giving, all right? Somebody will be giving. We'll see. If it's me, it had to be me. It ain't you. I'll tell you that much. It ain't you. One guy talking sports. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, Dabo almost went Eugene on that 4th and 1. He tried. He tried. He was going to punt that bitch initially. He was going to punt it. And then the clock got low and he had to burn a timeout. And then I think that had he had more time on the play clock and they got the punt team out there, I think he would have punted that bitch. I think it was only the desperation of the play clock running out and the urgency that hit him like, oh shit, I got to make a decision. Timeout. Let me get a timeout. And by calling that, once you call a timeout, you got to go for it. You can't call a timeout and then punt. Because if you were going to do that, you could have just took the delay game, right? So once you call the timeout, you got to go for it. Yeah, he was about to bitch up. He damn sure was. But that's what happens when your team is ass. Because remember, last year, he was rolling the dice all over the place. He was kissing them bitches and rolling them. First game of the season against the Titans last year. He went for 2 in the win, right? He came to Washington in that big matchup when both teams were 7-5-1, and he went for it on 4th and 9. Like, we know Brian Daboll ain't scared. He's just scared of this iteration of the Giants because he don't trust them. And you saw the shit that was happening tonight. I thought their best runs came when they spread the Packers out and gave it to Saquon out of the gun. When they tried to go heavy formation and told them they were running, like the Packers were stopping that shit all night long. So I'm like, stop doing that. Junio Rudy, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, Miami without Tyreek equals sub 500 team. Tyreek's the MVP. I think you saw just how much he means. But we already knew this. This doesn't need an explanation. I don't think we needed to see this to know. It's almost like Christian McCaffrey. We don't need to see him out of the lineup to know what that would do to San Francisco's offense. Just like we didn't need to see what not having Deebo Samuel or Trent Williams does to San Francisco's offense. We already know, but seeing it confirms it. But we already know what that does. Not having Tyreek Hill changes everything. But understand that they could survive without him. Their offense isn't their offense without him, however. But they can survive without him. We thought the same thing about the Vikings and Justin Jefferson. Well, shit, he's hurt. That's it for them. And then they went and won 4 in a row without him. 5 in a row, I think it was, without him. Whatever it was. You can survive without a receiver. Which is why now, the guys like Justin Jefferson and Tyreek Hill and Jamar Chase, those dudes are difference makers. You want those guys in the lineup. Don't get me wrong. But look at the Giants. This is the debate that people like to have, and I'll just leave it at this. Justin Jefferson gets hurt, the Vikings win games. Deebo Samuel gets hurt, Trent Williams get hurt, 49ers lose games. You could argue who's more important there. You know who I'm rolling with. But the Giants can't even get their quarterback to take a 3-step drop without Andrew Thomas in the lineup. We know they don't have any game-changing receivers, but that's besides the point. What I'm trying to convey to you is, without Andrew Thomas in the lineup, it was constant pressure. DeVito had time tonight. Now, he also used his legs to escape the pocket. There were times where he would have been sacked had he just stood back there. A lesser quarterback would have been sacked. Guy without any athleticism and not, focus. Like Tommy DeVito 2 weeks ago probably would have got sacked 6 or 7 times tonight because he would have stood back there like a deer in headlights instead of getting out. Because he's been sacked so many times, his pocket awareness has heightened. And he's at the point now where they beat it into his head, bro, you can't take sacks. Even if you run up and they tackle you at the line of scrimmage, or even if you run up and it's a gain of 1, that's better than a 7-8 yard loss. We can't overcome that with the way our offense is set up. We can't be in 2nd and 18. We can't be in 3rd and 14. That's a death sentence for us, so we got to punt. You have to keep us somewhat on schedule. And you saw that with him using his legs, but also Andrew Thomas coming back. Their offensive line looks light years different with Andrew Thomas out there. The difference a tackle makes is immeasurable. That's the thing. That's why people shit on tackles. I watched Penei Sewell. There's a touchdown that the Lions have on a run where Penei Sewell gets up the field, gets to that guy and seals him. It takes an athletic dynamo to get out in front of this thing, turn, seal, and be the kickout block that ends up being the spring for the touchdown, right? And I'm watching that thing, and it's like Jason Kelsey getting up the field and getting that key block for the touchdown, and that shit's like poetry in motion when you're watching back. When Trent Williams does that shit, and you go, damn, boy, what I wouldn't give. I ain't trying to hear that shit. If you can get one of those dudes, that shit makes the world of difference. Oh, the world, especially if you already got stuff at receiver. It'd be one thing if your shit was completely bare. I get it. That's not the case in Washington. You may not love the stuff we got, but it's more than capable of getting the job done. You can get the job done in Miami with the stuff that you have remaining if there's no Tyreek Hill. It just won't be as dynamic. You won't be as dominant. The ability to score 38 just like that goes away. You still got Waddle, though. You still got my man from Dallas that made the big catch tonight. You still got Braxton Berrios. You still got stuff. You still got the 2 speedsters in the backfield. You still got world-class speed. Hill just puts you over the top. He separates you from all the teams that got speed in the league. Tyreek Hill separates you because don't nobody got Tyreek Hill speed, Jalen Waddle speed, Devin Achane speed, and Raheem Mostert speed all on the same team. But you could put that all in the field at the same time. A lot of fast teams in the league, not like the Dolphins. The biggest blow to the Dolphins right now is the offensive line and all the injuries that they have there. Not having Teron Armstead is a bigger problem to me personally. And I know you've done a lot of damage this season without him because he gets hurt a lot. But having all these guys injured, Robert Hunt and Teron Armstead, that shit to me is a bigger deal than Tyreek Hill getting hurt. When you're playing a team like this, I'm talking about. You need Tyreek Hill if you're playing against good teams. You need him. But you should have been able to win this game without Tyreek Hill. Ain't no excuse. Reedy Davis, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, Lou, can't believe we below the G-Men and above them in the draft order. Shame. Hashtag NHL. Believe, you don't believe it? As a wise man once said to me, or likes to say, you don't believe it? Believe it. We stink. And we're poorly coached. And I've said this about the Giants. They're not the best coached. They're not the worst coached. And we saw what Brian Daboll did with a couple of rubber bands, a stick of double mint gum, some big league chew, a thumbtack, and some crazy glue. We saw what he did last year with that shit. We could give our guy all the resources he needs in the world. We can give him a whole Home Depot, and he'll still manage to F the project up. Let's get to the comment section. We got about 15 minutes. We'll see what we got. Lord have mercy. Here we go. This is what happens when you're left-handed. When you try to use your right hand, it don't want to act right. So you got to go to your left hand. Clutch hand to get it done. All right. So, again, if you're out there, you want your comment read, use the hashtag LouieTLive. But we've already used up most of the night on the me talking about two different games and the super chat. So if you really want your comment to be read, you're going to probably have to super chat. I'm going to keep it a buck with you. But anyway, let's get in here and see. Steel City. Right. Levis is a psycho, Lou. I'm watching him go crazy with that look in his eyes. He's getting in D-Hop's face as well. He's fun to watch, and I'm sure Titans fans are excited. Yeah, he's a psycho. He's crazy. I mean, we heard, I don't know if that was a publicity stunt or what, but we heard about the mayonnaise in his coffee, you know. But he's definitely, you know, a little off, which you love it. I need him to reel some of that in, though. Like, he tried to run, like, he's still thinking he's at Penn State or he's at Kentucky. Like, I don't need you trying to run over NFL defensive players. Like, I'm good on that. And I think they'll talk to him about that. Like, okay, bro, I get it. There's a time and a place for that. You can't be doing that every time you run, though. But, yeah, you can see it in his eyes. Like, when he came off the field after they scored that touchdown and take the lead, he was out of his mind at that point, and he was hyped. I was happy for him. And, yes, Titans fans, I've talked to enough of them. They're excited, as they should be. You know, what a lot of Titans fans are saying now is, how is there ever even a competition between he and Malik Willis in the offseason? Like, how is there even a competition for the two position behind Tannehill? You know, you understand not starting him, rolling with Tannehill to start the season off. Nobody's debating that. But after Tannehill got injured, how is there even a debate as to who would go in next? That's the part that Titans fans are kind of struggling with right now. Let's see. Kevin, the PRF. writes, bloody week for picks. I had to check. Barely dodged that lemonade. I already told you, bro. This was a nasty week. I'm hoping somebody's got 10. That's all I can hope for. I feel like with the way the picks went, I'm pretty sure somebody's got 10. I wouldn't be shocked if somebody's got 11 losses, bro. It was that nasty. I mean, think about all the upsets. The Jets over the Texans, the Broncos over the Chargers. I don't know if that's really an upset, but I think most people thought that the Chargers, and I thought long. I told y'all about it. All of these shits that I got wrong, a lot of the shits I got wrong, I told y'all how I felt. And I didn't trust my gut. But Broncos over the Chargers, the Bucks beating the Falcons. I'm hoping that somebody picked Jacksonville instead of Cleveland. Like that was a layup, right? I'm hoping somebody picked Indy instead of Cincinnati. That was another layup, right? And then lost all the shits that they were supposed to lose. And then they picked the Chiefs, right? Somebody got like 10 or 11 losses, I bet. I'd be shocked if I'm sipping the piss cup with 9. Because, oh shit. Do I got 9 or do I got 10? I think I might have 10. I'm not sure right now. Let me go through these. Let me go through the list of games. I might have 10 of these bitches. Hold on a second. If I got 10, I'm sipping the piss cup. Ain't no way around it. You got 10. You can't run. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, I got 9. No, I think I'm straight with 9. I got 9 losses. I think I'm straight. Somebody got 10. I feel confident in that. Captain Flobnark says, Zach Wilson better do us how he did to Texas. I'm not going to count on that. First of all, Zach Wilson might not be playing against us. Aaron Rodgers is going to be medically cleared. I don't know if y'all saw the tweet, but he's going to be medically cleared for the Christmas Eve game against Washington. Will he come back? I still don't see the purpose behind it if you're not making the playoffs, and they're not. But he might want to just be able to flex, because that seemed like some Aaron Rodgers shit. Just to be able to flex and say, hey, I came back I'm the only person in the league to come back from an Achilles injury in the same season at 40 years old. Like, that's some shit that I think he would wear as a badge of honor and want to flex with. So I can see him just coming back just to be able to say, look at what I did. I can see that. All right. I don't really see too many comments. Y'all look like y'all was getting busy in the comment section. So I might be able to just get out of here at this point. I don't see anything really addressed to me in particular. All right. Yeah, I think we were just about to get out of here. What a night of football. A walk-off and a 14-point deficit erased in less than 4 minutes. Go Blue. Writes, Giants fans told you our defense was actually good. I see that YouTube short up on your channel mocking our defense, Lou. Don't think I forgot you shitting on Sexy Dexy and Kayvon as well. I'm still shitting on all those dudes. Dex is good. I still think Kayvon Thibodeau is a clown, but hey, he getting to the quarterback. Even though I don't think I respect his sacks like I do guys that get those kind of numbers. Like a lot of his sacks be on some unblocked shit, so a bootleg and he doesn't get blocked and he goes and gets the quarterback, But, watching him tonight, the jet sweeps they ran to his side, he's like peanuts for brains going up inside and, not keeping contained. Like, that's the kind of shit that kind of incompetence I can't deal with. But he made some good plays. he's not my cup of tea, though. You know, he's not my cup of tea. He did have a big deflection in the red zone, and he plays hard. Like, there's a lot to like about him. I don't think he's dominant. I'll just say that. You know, I don't think he's dominant. Dex is really good. I don't think I really heard his name called tonight, though. Like, he's good, but he goes in spurts. I'll just say that. Like, I think collectively as a group, the defense is good. It's well coached. It's aggressive, even though I don't think Wink blitzed as much, and that might be a byproduct of Brian Daboll getting in his ear and saying, "Hey, you got to chill, bro." But I think collectively as a group, the defense is good. Bobby Okereke, and I'm a big fan of Xavier McKinney. And so I just think McFadden has played his ass off this year. I just think collectively, it's a good defense. I don't think the individual parts are great. Like Deonte Banks, I still don't think he's all that great. You know, got the go ahead touchdown called on him. Should have got cooked for the deep ball. If Jordan Love throws that a little bit further, it's a touchdown. Like, I think he's way better than our rookie corner, but that doesn't make him good. You know, I still would have taken Christian Gonzalez. I still think all of these teams that passed on Gonzalez whiffed. We're one of them. The Giants, I don't think you had a shot. I think they were right after us, and they took Gonzalez. But I know the kid in Pittsburgh is playing well. He's trash to me too. Bunch of penalties. He's everything that I thought. Joey Porter Jr. is everything that I thought he was coming out of Penn State. Grabby. Same thing with Deonte Banks. Grabby. You know, the difference with Banks is he's supposed to be a better athlete. I just don't see it. You know, long speed wise. Porter Jr. isn't as fast, but he's got length. But both of them are super grabby. You can beat both of them. I honestly think the only one of these corners, or the only two of the corners that are going to be any good, were the two that I thought were the best in the group. Witherspoon and Gonzalez. I think all the rest of these dudes are going to end up being either average to below average when it's all said and done. But I meant what I said about your Giants. I'm not backing down from that. It's a good defense as a whole. What I was talking about more so was the defensive line, because a lot of people were comparing, especially our defensive tackles inside, which they haven't had a great year. So, yeah, what I said is looking a little sketchy, but I still take my dudes. You don't even have Leonard Williams anymore. You traded him because it was good value you were getting, similar to what we did with Montez Sweat. But also, he wasn't all that damn good. He was basic as hell. And that's what I was pretty much saying. I wasn't talking about your defense as a whole. I was talking about your D-line. And at that time when I made that statement, I still had Chase Young and Montez Sweat with the Bama wall. I was saying our guys are better than yours. That's what I was saying. Now we stripped our shit down to the bare essentials. You still got one edge rusher and one defensive tackle. I got no edge rushers and two defensive tackles. Hey, it's like us, you know, screaming over like who lost to the Eagles the closest or some shit. Like, you still both lost. Like, neither one of our lines are all that good. Honestly, if we keep it a buck, our entire division's defensive line is overrated except for Dallas. And that's because they got Micah Parsons. And DeMarcus is really good still. Lawrence, but he's really good against the run. I don't know if he's, you know, really getting to the quarterback these days, but that's no here nor there. The Eagles' defensive front is overrated. Washington's defensive front has always been overrated. And I don't think the Giants' defensive front, I don't think anybody was ever putting them in that same category. But if they were, no, they didn't belong there. That I felt that way then. I feel that way now. But it's no reason in arguing about it now, because neither one of our defensive lines are super, super impactful at this point after being stripped down to the bare essentials, essentially. Anyway, I digress. Anyway, I do got a super chat. I got a comment here. Then we'll read this when we get out of here. We hit our mark. Member for 16 months, Spence Calise. Who writes, does Herbert struggles worry you about paying NHL? No. What does Justin Herbert have to do with Sam Howell? They're not the same. Rarely do you look at somebody else's situation and apply that. The only thing that makes a difference with is the money. Eventually you look at other players and what they get paid, and that's how you determine how much you're going to have to pay your guy. The next guy is always the highest paid guy, which is what we talk about. But you don't look at anybody else's situation and say, man, I'm worried because Justin Herbert is getting hurt and they're not winning in LA with the Chargers. That don't got shit to do with our organization. That's a Chargers problem, not a Washington problem. Now, what happened to their organization could happen here, but I like their ownership group is more like the Snyders, right? When they were here. The Spanoses are terrible. And we don't have to worry about that. So I don't know. I don't think the two are comparable. Don't think you pay attention to that. I don't really think that has anything to do with anything. So, not really concerned about that whatsoever. Anyway, I digress. That's going to do it for me, your man Louie T, here on this installment of Monday Night Football Overtime. Doubleheader, which was a double dandy. In the first game, well, both of them were aired at the same time, but the Giants-Packers game ended first. Giants win in walk-off field goal fashion, 24-22. Great game by Tommy DeVito. Over 70 yards rushing, over 200 yards passing, and he got it done or over 150 yards passing, over 200 yards total of offense for Tommy DeVito. Meanwhile, if you're the Packers, gut-wrenching loss on the road against a sub-500 team as you were on a 3-game winning streak and looking to improve your status within the NFC playoff standings. In the second game, Dolphins-Titans, improbable come-from-behind victory by the Titans, who were down 14 points with less than 5 minutes to go in the ball game. Will Levis got on his horse late, took him down the field, scored a touchdown, completed a 2-point conversion. The defense got a stop. I thought the Dolphins were way too conservative. Got the ball back, scored again, took the lead. Defense held on, got the stops when they needed to, and preserved the victory, 28-27. Both the Giants and the Titans entered the game at 4-8, leave at 5-8. Meanwhile, the Dolphins, who had a chance to equal the Ravens at 10-3, a 10-3 best in the AFC. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, that's in the league. 10-3 is the best mark in the league. I think you've got 3 10-3 teams in the NFC: Dallas, San Francisco, Philadelphia, and you got 1 10-3 team now in the AFC, and that's just the Baltimore Ravens. So had a chance to equal the NFL's best record at 10-3 with a win, and up 14 with less than 5 minutes to go, you blow it and lose at home in excruciating fashion, 28-27. And you might add insult to injury because Tyreek Hill had a significant ankle injury. Return to the game. We all know that's adrenaline. He goes to sleep tonight. Unless he's sleeping upside down and that blood doesn't go to his ankle, he's going to wake up and that shit's going to swell its ass off. And so my guess is he may be able to play next week, but I wouldn't be shocked if he's out next weekend. We'll see. So it might be adding insult to injury, or injury to insult in this case. But anyway, I digress. You guys get out of here. Enjoy the rest of your evening. We'll chop it up tomorrow on the Louie T Network podcast. What a week of football. We'll cover it all here on the Louie T Network. If you're a Commanders fan, I'll see you for CNN tomorrow. Then we'll be live on Wednesday night. But should be a ton of fun. You guys enjoy the rest of your evening. Y'all know what it is. God bless and good night.
Louie T.